Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. I think a lot of people today are picking phones based on what they want and not so much of what they need. So in this video, I want to talk about a few phones that possibly could very much exceed your needs if you just eliminate the things that you think you might want. Now, let's jump right into this with the Z Flip from Samsung. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip is a large phone slash compact phone. A lot of people probably don't want to invest in or purchase, I shouldn't say invest, purchase a foldable phone. But I think the Z Flip 7 is probably one of the top choices where you should go when you're trying to transition from a slab phone to a folding phone. Case in point, it covers the main screen, which is the one that could possibly get damaged. Now, I actually have dropped my Z Flip 7, my Z Flip 7, all the Z Flips that I've had in the past, I've dropped them all in a case, outside of a case, and most of the time, the phone stays closed, meaning the internal display that could be damaged the most actually doesn't even get exposed, which is a good thing. With that, the transition from over the years from the previous generation flips, the Z Flip 7 is by far the best yet. It has a full display on the outside. You get full access to the main cameras. It just becomes a phone that you don't even have to open if you don't want to. I know this for a fact because I typically keep my Z Flip closed when I'm watching YouTube, just so I can have a compact phone. That's another thing about it. It is essentially just a small phone for the most part, because it's gotten to the point now where the outside displays are so good on these style flip phones, you don't even need to open it. You literally can install Good Lock, which is a Samsung OEM app. You install Good Lock and you can have every app accessible on your front screen that you desire. So if you think you don't like a folding phone, the Z Flip 7 is one that you definitely should consider by far. And it is probably one of the top choices on this list of phones, in no particular order, that I would highly recommend if you don't think of anything else on this list that you might be interested in. Next is the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL, or the Google Pixel 10 Pro if you want the smaller variant. Now, this phone is kind of tricky to me because sometimes outside I don't like the video, but most times indoors I love the video in a controlled environment. It's kind of different because most of the time you get natural sunlight, video is spectacular. But for some reason, for me, I'm just not impressed with the Google Pixel's video outside most of the time, but indoors in a controlled environment, it is flawless. Now, I focused on video because to me, that's the weakest point of the Pixel lineup. After that, folks, this phone will blow you away. The 10 Pro XL in particular has extraordinary battery life. And while I talked about the video being the weakest point, we all know that the cameras for photos are the strongest point of this phone. The cameras on Pixel phones in general are their strongest point. Yes, I said that. And in fact, the Pixel cameras for photos pretty much beat out every phone on this list for photos that I could bring about. The Pixel 10 Pro XL and the Pixel 10 Pro, and heck, even the Pixel 10, the entire 10 lineup, you should consider one of these phones. However, there is some kind of things I don't like about them. Some of the phones start at 128 gigs of storage, which I just think is flat out wrong. But if you can get past that, or you're just trying to save money, I think you'll be impressed with the software for one. I mean, I'm talking about great software. You're going to love the software on the Google Pixel lineup this year. There are Pixel drops left and right, which are feature drops. And they show you all kinds of things left and right. They're always introducing new things over the years. And I really feel like if you give it a chance, and this is the good part about the Pixel lineup, you got big and small. So if you don't want a very big phone like the XL, you can go with the Pro model. If you want to save some money, you can go with the 10 lineup. But either way, I think the Pro lineup, if you don't want the XL, go with the 10 Pro. It's just that sweet spot in the entire lineup of the 10s. And I just think it's going to be so good to you. You'll be surprised at how well the battery is, how great the photos are. The front camera is extraordinary for photos, along with the rear. And the battery life is absolutely incredible. So you've got a great suite there for a phone that you could use for 2 to 7 years. I believe updates also are about 7 years if a person is actually keeping their phone that long nowadays. Now, another phone that I highly recommend is the iPhone Air. This might be some would consider the most controversial phone on the list, but I don't think so. I think the iPhone Air is the epitome of your needs being met versus what you want. Some people want all the functionality of this iPhone 17 Pro that I'm recording with, but do you really need it? You probably don't. You can get away, and I've made several videos on the iPhone Air. I'm for certain that you could get away with the iPhone Air for easily a year, two, or more, or it just becomes your phone and it will meet and exceed all of your needs. It takes great photos. Video is better than any phone I've listed so far on this list. And the hardware, the software, superb. Very stable. It is the most stable software, in my experience, of Android and iOS. iOS gets more support from developers. It just seems like you're going to get more in the App Store from iOS. There's perks to it that only iOS users will understand or know. The ecosystem is very solid, just like Android's ecosystem is solid. But in Samsung's ecosystem, Google's ecosystem, Samsung's ecosystem, and iOS, all of them are stable. They all have watches, tablets, and phones, and laptops. So it's a good mix. So I got to tell you, though, the iPhone Air is, in fact, a phone that I've recommended since day one. The iPhone Air has actually converted people from Android to iOS, believe it or not. I could name some people, but I don't want to put them on blast. Not that they would care or anything like that. It's not a put down, but truth of the matter is, the iPhone Air is an incredible phone, and I know that it would meet your needs for cameras, videos, battery, software, performance, hardware, all of the above. I think it would do extraordinary in all those categories. Now, if you're a person that's looking for a big phone, meaning a phone that can fold into a small tablet, well, this gets kind of difficult because there are a number of phones in the US now that are actually really close and fighting each other. And imagine if you take it to the world, there's plenty of phones that are better than what's offered in the US. So if we just stay in the US market, you've got what I would consider just a top choice, which is the Z Fold 7. And then you have the Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold. And then you have the OnePlus Open. Man, what else do I have over there? Let's see. Some older generation foldable phones too. But in previous generations of those models, all good. But I think most people would argue that Samsung is probably the top choice for a foldable phone that folds open into a tablet. I think a lot of people will probably say that's the one that you should go with. It's super thin, slim form factor, big screen, goes into any pocket. It's just a all-around general, well-accepted phone, probably because they've been doing it the longest. And so their feet are planted in the folding game. And look at the first phone I offered to you as a top choice was the Z Flip 7. So that speaks volumes. Samsung knows what they're doing when it comes to foldable phones, but other OEMs are catching up. So rumor has it that there's a new Samsung phone on the horizon that's going to try to battle something that Apple has coming. And so I can't wait to look for that. 2026, 2027, I'm probably going to be spending a lot of money. But I can say, folks, you can make up your own list of phones that I think will genuinely meet your needs versus your wants. But a lot of times consumers get caught up in what they want and they don't buy phones based on their needs. Now, all that said, there are plenty of phones that can exceed your needs and meet your needs that are under $300. And a lot of them come from Motorola. So if you're talking about core needs, there are a plethora of phones out there that can really get the job done for you and get all these boxes checked for you. They'll just do it a little bit slower. That's all. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. What phones do you think you could operate with to just get your basic needs met? I'll see you in the next one. Take care.